We just witnessed a fantastic best of 5 between Clem and ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE emerged the victor and is now facing HeRoMaRinE in the finals for another, hopefully, fantastic PvT. In the top right, as the blue Protoss, they call him the Meower. He is ShoWTimE. In the bottom left, as the red Terran, he is HeRoMaRinE. And some call him half Italian. Some call him Big Gabe. But it's actually ShoWTimE, who is sponsored by Big. Hey. Yeah. It's a joke. These guys do meet in the finals very often. If they're not meeting in the finals, one of them is in the finals. Very rarely do we have a not HeRoMaRinE or not ShoWTimE finalist. It happens, though. It does happen. It's just not that common. These guys just continue to be excellent. Very standard players, so they're... I mean, I'd say that ShoWTimE maybe still has a bit more of his peaks in non-prestigious tournaments, which is kind of unfortunate. When we talk about, you know, the lows and the peaks of other players, we're talking about, like, big ol' mountains. Big ol' mountains. When we talk about that with these guys, we're kind of talking about, like, a little bit of, like, a hill. You know, it's, like, kind of uncomfortable to run up, but you can walk up it. You know? But it does seem to happen a little less for ShoWTimE, who has been heralded as the best Protoss in Europe for many years. I mean, I remember them saying it back at, you know, Leipzig 2018. And they were saying it before that. And yet he never really had much success for what he was being built up as. Anyways, like, he has had lots of success, but it's just one of those things where, like, you're the best Protoss, you're the best Protoss, you're the best Protoss. Oh my god, he's beating Serral on ladder. Oh my god, he's the only guy who's matching Serral's MMR. Oh my god, and it just doesn't ever quite come to be that he is, for instance, always the guy facing Serral. He is not the third player who is battling Raynor and Serral, even though for all the hype he gets, you'd think he would be. And it's unfortunate, but it, you know, we're just waiting for that day that ShoWTimE not only appears once in the grand finals, but appears all the time in the grand finals. We're waiting for that. Right now, he appears all the time in these finals, but talking about grander expectations, so... I'm still waiting for that day. It's gonna come. It's gonna come soon. HeRoMaRinE, one of the few Terrans who has actually dared to reach the finals of some of the attorney packs. I mean, let's be real, both Terran and Protoss have trouble reaching the finals because a certain someone and another certain someone keep on taking the finals. Stupid Zergs. But, they both have had similar effects where, like, yeah, they're both fantastic. Best European Protoss, best European Terran. Neither one able to quite continue reaching top 4 and battling against the tops. It's like a sometimes thing. I just want more stories, okay? This is honestly what I'm getting at. You're like, what's your point, ZombieGrub? My point is, I want both of these guys to be constantly nipping at the heels of Raynor and Serral so we don't get so many goddamn ZDZs. Alright? That's what I want. I already had my birthday, but if I had a birthday wish, that's what it would be. Because they deserve it. They are absolutely fantastic. There's a reason they're here all the time, and it's not because the rest of the talent here for these Open Cups is bad. Nope, it's really good. And thankfully, these guys did not do anything to each other, so my spiel has really not taken up any important information. Bit of a wall from ShoWTimE against HeRoMaRiNE's Hellion opener. Hellion opener got a bit of scouting, saw the third Nexus timing. ShoWTimE is going to be going for the, once again, emphasis on the gateway units, similar to the last game on Pillars of Gold. I do anticipate faster forges and a faster fourth gas, though. I don't know, it just felt very... It threw me too far back in time. What he did on Pillars of Gold versus Clem, which was stay on no forges, only gateway units, only 3 gases for a very, very long time. to what people were doing back, you know, when the style was kind of first being popularized. So there's the forge faster, and I totally nailed it. Thought he would go faster into this one. We might still see some pretty fast storm and an emphasis on storm drops as a response, because he does do that build occasionally. It happens, but yeah. Medevac drop with Widowmines coming into maybe the third base as ShoWTimE starts to set up his blink harassment. He wants to be on top of the army when it pushes. ShoWTimE's scouting is pretty full here. Looks like Phoenix maybe got in, maybe the Observer I missed. He pretty much knows what went down. And now HeRoMaRinE is about to see the main base and all that it has to entail. It's a lot of gateways. Forge not researching yet. Oh! We're good. We're good. ShoWTimE did not fully look away. Thankfully. Only 2 probes go down, and his stalkers get safely brought back home. This is what HeRoMaRinE did versus Mana on this map, actually. Delayed his reactor to build... How to say this? He put his reactor on the factory first and foremost and made single medevacs to do 2 Widowmine drops. Now against Mana, these 2 Widowmine drops didn't do much damage necessarily. Oh, I got the sentry, nicely done. But they did stay alive. Both of them were alive, and both of them were constantly looking to harass or at least keep stalkers back at home. At least in this case, ShoWTimE cleared up 1 medevac. So that's a little less to worry about, but he still knows the medevac is in the top left. ShoWTimE has started up his +1 and is already well into it as HeRoMaRinE gets a little bit stalled out on his +1 attack. Yeah, he can't quite afford the +1 armor while building medevacs and tanks. It's only 1 more at a time with this build. Oh, it's because they have this 2 extra barracks done yet. Haha, that makes sense. Oh, they're done. They just aren't... They don't have any add-ons. Huh. Seems to be intentional, because his 3rd CC wasn't exactly that fast. Only gesturing into an orbital, too, so... Interesting. But alright. Oh, it's like, it almost looks like a 2-base out, like a fake 3rd. It almost looks like a fake 3rd, you know? But it's not. He is still mining fairly well from it, but... Definitely a lot of emphasis on the 5 barracks. And ShoWTimE might be a little surprised by this. He's like, wait a minute, that's a lot of shit. Hold on here. Forrest's gonna buy him some extra time, but... time for what? There's really no other important upgrade on the way. He tries out on a 2nd shield battery, and he does have an overcharge on the Nexus, but he doesn't have enough units. He doesn't have a good enough location either. And does he even have a Guardian shield? Now he does. Zealots trying to come in from the left side are severely mistimed. The right side Zealots get cleaned up instantly by the amount of Marines that HeRoMaRinE has, and ShoWTimE just, I don't think he was expecting this big of a push. It's actually kind of a clever little thing here. GG. It kind of is that fake 3rd, you know? There was 10 SCVs mining from it, but he stopped producing SCVs. That's, you know, you need how many more SCVs to saturate that? You need 6 more for the minerals and then 6 more for the gases. So instead of building those, he just has maybe even some transferred, right? Because it wasn't like he was at 48 SCVs, he was like 52 or something. Well, anyways. There are sacrifices to get that many units. Maybe slightly faster barracks. Don't bother adding on add-ons to them. So you can just consistently pump out the Marines and hit a little bit faster with a little bit more, with a little less on the macro game if you were to be rebuffed. And that's unfortunate is that ShoWTimE, should he have gone... If he had gone for that Storm build he did against Clem, if it's done in time, it's probably a lot better against it. Having Storm against that big bio ball. Oh well. Everdream is game number 2's map. In the bottom left, it is ShoWTimE. In the top right, it is HeRoMaRinE. Alongside my spiel about hoping these guys are constantly nipping at Cyril and Rainer's heels, someone asked, you know, what's wrong with ZVZ? Nothing wrong with ZVZ. Fortunately for us, ZVZ is not Roach versus Roach of, you know, what, 2016, early 2017? It's developed into a very fun matchup with a lot of different styles and a lot of different builds, plenty of cheeses and all-ins and lots of variety, and that's great. But as cool as it is to consistently see two teams, two players constantly battle each other, I think Starcraft kind of has this unique problem. Right, I'm trying to think of the you know, esports quickly here. Yeah, it's pretty much a unique problem. Yeah. Where you, like, a third of the population, not counting random players or people who are, you know, play more than one race. A third of the population of the viewers are going to be hoping for their race to win. It's very easy to tag on to your race. It's easy to tag on to your nationality, so that's what's great about Hometown Heroes. It's also easy to be like, I cheer for the guy who plays my race, because I like that race. When you have a mirror matchup, even if it was TvT or PvP, that just, you suddenly have 2/3 just being like, I don't want it. And you could try really hard to convince them it's fantastic, and the story is what matters. And it's a fantastic story, and these guys are really well matched, and blah, 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 blah. But it is still two races just being like, okay, I'm out. I'm checking out. And while I think some of them are stupid, I think some of the people who are just like, no, I don't want to watch it are kind of dumb. I'm not really blaming anyone, I'll be honest. I am most understanding. I would also like to have a different race showcased against Cyril or Rainer. Different race, different matchup, different style. Different storyline, blah, blah, blah. So, that's my perspective on things. And on top of that, I just, you know, it's been a long time, been cheering for a lot of these players for a long time, having hung out with them personally after hours and been on teams together for the War Chest team lately, and I just want these guys to do really well. It's the other thing. No monopolies in the top two. Monopolies are bad. Alright, so HeRoMaRiNE's got a 3rd CC. And ShoWTimE would love to scout this, but ShoWTimE is unlikely to go for a Stargate build. Brought it up in the Mana vs. HeRoMaRiNE series that Mana got for a Stargate. Went for a Stargate, and while that got him scouting, it doesn't give him much harassment. That scouting still happens super early on. One of the earliest scouts you can really get is with that Oracle off of 2 bases. So that's the benefit. If you don't go for that, what are the other options? You don't really have Robo first builds in PvT so much. Not really. I mean, some people do it, but not really. So it's not like you need Observer over there. Some Protoss players will get a fairly fast sentry, like their 3rd or 4th unit warped in as a sentry for hallucination, but not many. So you're getting really late scouting, because it's so hard to see otherwise, in this matchup in particular, what else says okay to 3rd CC. If this was ZVT, there's an Overlord sitting over here going like, oh, where are the supply depots? I wonder, and it's like kind of obvious. But for ShoWTimE, he's got an Adept that has to run away because there could be Hellions. He doesn't know. And even if it did get into the main base, it would see already finalized production facilities, with no way of knowing when that starport actually finished. So, unfortunately, this is going to work out well for HeRoMaRiNE. Unfortunately for ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE is only going to get a scout with the Observer. After already dedicating to robotic space, the game that he wanted to play. It's a very popular, I feel, style on this map as well. Why do you have chat on the stream as well? I think it's actually quite nice. I usually just I take things from streams that I like as a viewer. So There's been times where I have it full screen, but I still want to see what the chat's reacting to. In this case, I think it's worthwhile to know what I'm responding to, because there's a delay when I do tournaments. Yeah. It's a fair question, fair question. So ShoWTimE's able to see that it's a third CC, right? The Raven was there to cut off the Observer, but not fast enough. So yeah, it's all a third CC. ShoWTimE's gonna try and control the push. This is a Stalker already, though, so not a great start. Taking a lot of damage on the other ones. HeRoMaRinE just gonna plant it down. Gonna maybe build up his supply depot wall like he did in the previous series that he played against Protoss. And ShoWTimE is going to, well, just try and chrono things. He's gonna go for some very fast Warp Prism speed, which I guess is the new thing to do. Because he's actually not committing to Colossus. Ooh, okay. I was about to go on this whole, like, well, he's not getting his Thermal Lance, and what he's gonna do about that? Well, I guess he's not gonna bother with it. I actually see Disruptors follow this up. This might be a response to seeing a third CC, or it might just have been his plan all along. Okay, no, he does get a second Colossus. But it's a very intentional Warp Prism speed first. Interesting. Well, I'm not gonna lie, speed prisms are pretty overpowered. I can see it. Should start by banning the board game Monopoly. We have to teach people what Monopoly is trying to teach, which is that Monopolies are bad. You'd think with everyone hating the game Monopoly and never wanting to play it with friends, and the whole, you know, nerd elitist being like, it's a soft game, you'd think they'd understand that it's trying to say that Monopolies are bad. But no. Anyways. Warp Prism with speed coming into the main base. It didn't even need speed. It actually would have gotten in there no matter what. HeRoMaRinE with some, honestly, lackluster detection in his own main. That supply depot usually would be over here, I would think, but alright. Warp Prism was getting in no matter what, but the army was in position. No move out yet from our Terran. ShoWTimE is currently down 40 army supply, so it's pretty important he gets some time bots. I don't think he can do much damage, but I hope he can buy some time. The 4 Stalkers get reduced down to 2 and picked up in the Warp Prism. That's funny. I think the 4 Stalkers, though, actually is a good thing. He doesn't have enough Stalkers to one-shot any unit here. Well, he can one-shot a Marine. So I take that back. But you get my point. He can't really take much down. So he could have gone for a lot more Stalkers, right? They're useful. They're cool. They're Gucci. They're alright. But instead of producing so many Stalkers and being out on the map so much, he actually just tried producing a lot more charge lots. And he's trying to get to 3 Colossus. Which he is, actually. I thought maybe that one had just popped out, which is always awkward, but he has 3 Colossus coming in from just the left side. HeRoMaRinE blitzed into that natural. And this is a little bit awkward. Little bits. Tank Siege up and be firing upon those Zealots as they try to rip through the bio. There simply isn't enough of them. Zealots come from the top side as well, trying to get here. Colossus on top of tanks. Just don't kill them fast enough, unfortunately. They're much more so for the bio. The 2 Colossus still alive. Maybe they can do it. Nope, definitely not. JK. Yeah, GG. HeRoMaRinE with the 2-0 against ShoWTimE. Those 3 CC builds are looking quite nasty. I mean, obviously ShoWTimE made a mistake. He was out of position. It was a pretty brutal mistake. He thought because his Stalkers were taken out on the north, that the army was coming from the north. I think that's what he thought. So his army was protecting his third, when really it could have cut off the natural, bought an extra 10 seconds, gotten a couple of cheap shots in, and instead he went back to his natural and went, oh, there's an army already here. Shit. So that was definitely the biggest problem. The absolute biggest problem. He just wasn't in the right position. I mean, it kind of sucks. It was a bit of a bop. Potentially final game. Pillars of Gold. HeRoMaRinE has been looking pretty baller with this 3cc build. It's also wrecked Mana, who's a bit of a different player from ShoWTimE. Not so drastically different. They've actually done some similar styles, but still, seems to be very good. Some people asking like, "Oh, Monopoly solved?" I don't actually know. I don't play Monopoly, but I could have sworn I heard that it was solved. Isn't it like there are certain places to buy? There's like 3 or 4 places. I don't know. Park Central. I don't play Monopoly. That once you get it, if you get it first, there's like a insane win rate. If you get it, you know, that type of solved. I don't know. It's a bit out of my wheelhouse. I'm not really, in general, a player of any type of game. Board game, card game, video game, sports game. He really pays attention to, like, min-maxing, for instance. Nah, numbers and perfection, like, doesn't float my boat. Whereas for other people, they get into the nitty-gritty details. They get, like, spreadsheets and, you know, fucking math. They got math. Ugh. Who likes math? I'm just like, well, it feels bad. People pointing out how large of a supply difference last game was. I mean, it's kind of insane. I'm with you. It looks very, very good. It looks kind of crazy, where you just kind of look down after not much has happened, and suddenly there's a 60 supply difference. But it does change pretty quickly. I mean, you know the attack they're going to try and hit is going to be good. So I think you have a little bit of even like the, what we most see in Zerg, right? We most see in Zerg is that they want to drone first, build army later. And while that's mostly described as a Zerg thing, it is in general a Starcraft thing. You want to try and fit in this economy so that later when you want to build shit, you can build a lot of shit. And so I think ShoWTimE was almost there. Like, he was almost there in that if he had blocked out the army for 10 seconds by being in position to block the ramp, right? He gets 10 more seconds as another warp in. Another warp in is 16 more supply. Suddenly supplies are only 40 difference instead of 60. And then he blocks out the north by keeping track of the army. That buys him another 10 seconds, another warp in. I don't know how long the warp ins are. Another warp in, let's just say that. And boom, suddenly it's not that much supply. And then when you get down to it, the supply of the Protoss is like these zealots that start to encompass the tanks, kind of take them out of the equation. There's Colossus that aren't being touched. They're only touched by the tanks. They shouldn't be touched. There's no Vikings. The Bio shouldn't be able to touch them. It's just Splash that they have, that the Terran doesn't have so much of. TLDR, I feel like ShoWTimE would have, if played correctly positionally, would have had a closer army fight and could have been okay. The abruptness of that game, I don't believe, was due to the army supply difference as much as it was due to the positioning problem. So, anyways, you know what we get to do? We get to see a repeat. To put my money where the mouth... Wait a minute. This is actually stupidly good. So, already a huge difference is that the Adept got in and installed the 3rd CC. The Adept was close enough, I think, to see the starport not done, which also might have been enough to be like, oh, it's a 3rd CC build. Plus, HeRoMaRinE seems to be doing it a lot, so ShoWTimE might just be starting to, you know, default guess it. But that's pretty big. It's pretty big. You don't expect any push from this, so you do. You can get your faster 3rd Nexus, you can get more probes, you can go for double forge, which is exactly what he does. Huge difference already. So we don't get the exact copy of the game where we get to test the positioning theory, unfortunately. But there is definitely something to be said about the build in that last game as well. I think positioning was critical, but the build, again, ShoWTimE, until this game, has not really been able to see his opponent's exact build. Exactly. Could be guessing, but not exactly. So to see a third CC, to get that confirmation, to do what you need, including getting a fast fourth Nexus. So much better. So much easier. So, it feels good. Feels good. Hallucinated Phoenix gets a double check into the main base as well. In case there's anything else you can do off the third CC. It just confirmed that barracks are on the way. No surprise mech. Just confirmed. Starport's still producing a tech lab. Like, it's not going to have medevacs out in the way for anything. And the third CC goes down. HeRoMaRinE doesn't have any scouting. He has no idea about how fast the third was, no idea about this fourth base, and I doubt he would guess there's a fourth base. He would probably hope to see the fourth base just getting to mining as he pushes into it, right? And now he's going to push into the would-be fourth base and go, okay, so did you get more technology? And no, the fourth base is just elsewhere. But I don't think HeRoMaRinE, there's any reason for him to check this. This is not... It's not the usual response, because it's not the usual scout. And another scout, just seriously getting so much good information in this game. ShoWTimE's going to have 1-1 and charge, shield batteries. He's getting those gateways right now. He's getting ready to just suddenly pump out a huge amount of supply. Just before HeRoMaRinE is ready to go. Just before. Scan reveals a pitiful army. Pitiful right now. And ShoWTimE needs to buy a couple extra seconds, actually. I'm surprised the Stalkers aren't out here trying to pick off these Widow Mines, for instance. There they go now. Very bold blink forward. He's going to try and stall out with some force fields as well. Nope, not quite. Take the engagement, decide, wait, no, I won't. JK. He was a little indecisive, but he wants to buy just more warp-ins. ShoWTimE at 73 workers to simply 48 of HeRoMaRinE. HeRoMaRinE has mixed things up a little bit. Once again, this is more like the Eternal Empire game than it is about the Everdream game, where it's kind of that fake third CC, and this is actually, I think, even a better build. If you're going to steal the build from these replays, I don't know how, I don't get replays, but still, steal this build from HeRoMaRinE, as this is what I think he wanted to do on the first map. It worked out for him then, will it work out for him now? Already seems to be going well, but ShoWTimE has a lot of time, a lot of production to work with, a lot of economy to work with, but he doesn't have time. That's the concern. Guardian Shield popped. Zealot's going to be drawn into the tank and drawn into the Widow Mines because of that. The bio is just too much, it looks like. The Zealots can't rip through. The shield batteries have been taken out. No overcharge either. A Guardian Shield is left over, but not anymore. And there's still so much bio. The medevacs are a bit dry, however, so HeRoMaRinE is going to back away. Does he know about the fourth base? He does not. This is a little weird for him. He's like, okay, I have a lot of more Zealots. What's going on? I think ShoWTimE's done it. I think ShoWTimE is over the hill, in a good sense, not in your old sense. But oh my god, the SCVs have been pulled. Uh-oh. No shield batteries. A lot more Zealots join in. 2-2 is not going to help for this engagement. He's going after the Sentry, stopping the Force Field, stopping the Guardian Shield. But more Zealots being warped into the natural. Now HeRoMaRinE has got to know there's a fourth base at the top left. Why would ShoWTimE continue going over there? And ShoWTimE is going to be looking for a collapse. Right side Zealots, left side the rest of the army. Could this actually work? It won't work if he lets HeRoMaRinE get up into that natural, up into that choke. It's got to be dangerous. It's very scary. This is going to be a full surround. Are there enough bio units to take care of this? Zealots even blocking that high ground from the retreat from HeRoMaRinE. That is nicely done. The SCVs have been taken out, but the Zealots are starting to wear a little bit thin. ShoWTimE needs more production. He needs more here as the bio actually, despite being completely surrounded, survives. ShoWTimE at 12 army supply to HeRoMaRinE 70, and oh my god, are you serious? How did the Zealots not just kill everything there? What? ShoWTimE loses the third Nexus. He can deal with that, but he can't deal with losing a natural. He can't deal with losing all of the gateways. All of his gateways, so much of his production is gone. Oh my god, he needs the economy. He needs at least 2 bases of economy, which he does still have. Okay, he needs 2 bases of economy, but so much more importantly, he needs his natural with all that production. Depowered, killed. ShoWTimE does not want to tap out of this game. I cannot believe those Zealots didn't kill everything in sight. That was a full surround. What the hell? Terran is so good, you guys. ShoWTimE has lost so much production, but he's also lost so much economy. He's down to, well, actually still 10 gateways. Damn, he had a lot of gateways. Holy flip. Holy flip. Oh, what am I even getting some shots off? And now HeRoMaRinE is going to go after the last true mining base of his opponent. Shield batteries prepared, overcharge is ready, recall is used to try and hold on. Oh, it's such a small recall too. A little bit of a surround, but ShoWTimE's army supply doesn't look good. The overcharge doesn't even help. It would help the Stalkers, but it can't help the Zealots. But the Zealots, maybe because they have 2-2, maybe the upgrades are finally going to cut it. 2-2 actually being so damn good. The Zealots barely taking out these units. And the Stalkers getting those last shots are going to take out the Medivacs and one of the Marauders as well. ShoWTimE is going to hold. HeRoMaRiNE's not ready to give up yet, but ShoWTimE, he's got +2 armor, man. I think he canceled +2 attack. So I thought +2 armor was canceled as well. But then I was like, wait a second. Oh, it actually finished. And it's crazy how much longer those Zealots lasted compared to the Zealots of the engagement over here. Like, I feel like someone needs to take the engagement over on the third, one of the first engagements over on the third, where the Zealots just evaporated, and compare it to the engagement on the left side. I mean, I know we're talking about different sized armies, but, upgrades are so good. HeRoMaRinE, funnily enough, has been able to get back to 53 workers, so ShoWTimE's 55, and we have a weirdly close macro game. Weirdly close. But, of course, when it comes to probe versus SEV counts, ShoWTimE's actually in the worst position. He's down about 40 army supply, only on equal workers, so his economy is not as good. And he doesn't have 3 bases to mine from anyways. It's only just finishing his third. Storm isn't done, and HeRoMaRinE might be playing with fire. He has to take this as saying, I do have Storm. He can't ever guess there isn't Storm. So that's something that's going for ShoWTimE. Third Nexus will be able to finish up despite this little bit of a drop. HeRoMaRinE does not get any connections. ShoWTimE is not going to bother placing his natural, well, because he can't really afford it. But also, rather get the third Nexus than a natural, because there's still more minerals there. And now it gets really awkward. I think this top left base was fantastic against the first push, which is going to be a beeline into his third base. But now that we talk about more of a macro PvT, we have to discuss multitasking and drops. And ShoWTimE could very well be split from the very left of the map to the very right of the map. Ghosts aren't quite ready, and there are about a bajillion storms on the way. Widowmines need 2 storms to kill? He takes out 3 out of 4. Still pretty good. Last Widowmine doesn't get a fantastic shot, but ShoWTimE does not have a War Prism. ShoWTimE, I think he's a bit desperate here. He sees how big that army is. He knows that HeRoMaRinE, despite losing SCVs, the SCV pool, has replaced his economy and was hoping for less preparedness, I think. He was hoping that that army with the storms would have been hitting at just the right time, before HeRoMaRinE could recover, before HeRoMaRinE could get to EMPs, but HeRoMaRinE had already recovered. He'd already had a decent production line, decent economy, and now he has ghosts. ShoWTimE needs a War Prism, he needs to buy time, he needs to be able to micro his High Templars, and he just can't afford to get there, as his Robo, I believe, was killed on the front here, and he can't really replace it. HeRoMaRiNE's still gonna win this game. A lot of Medivacs with a lot of energy. Not a lot of Widowmines. They're not getting fantastic shots, but the High Templars are slow. They're so slow. They're not even helping with this main engagement quite yet. 12 probes go down to a side army of Marines. EMPs hit the High Templars? No, actually, they mostly missed the army. Kind of whiffed. That one hits it, though. Oof, that one hit it. ShoWTimE still has the upgrade lead, but HeRoMaRinE just has the numbers, almost doubling the arm supply of his opponents. Just a decent concave, a couple of splits. Storms did hit true, but needed more to back it up. I can't believe HeRoMaRinE wins this game still. I mean, he's been winning the game, but I mean, because of the Zealots earlier on, like, here. I can't believe he wins the game because this happened. Like, I'm just gonna watch it again. After this engagement, it was kind of like, okay, ShoWTimE's probably dead, but... I mean... Better upgrades for the Zealots. You know what's funny? So, what's so funny about this is that there are so many Zealots not hitting. There's so many Zealots not hitting, and auto turret is surprisingly good damage. Yeah, you know, it might have it might have enveloped the Terran army, but that was still max like 7 Zealots hitting at a time. You know, Zealots love surrounds, but they still want to give a hug. They don't want a weird like some of us are hugging and some of us aren't.